Hello, hello. It's so good to see everyone. Happy Monday. Today is March 23rd, 2020. Yeah, it's a little drizzly outside today, but it's looking like could be a nice day for a walk. I think I'll head out there in just a little while. I have a read aloud for you. I hope all the work is going well today. If you have any questions, have your parents send me a message. And I miss all of you so, so much. I feel an empty space right here for all of you. And I hope to see you soon. I'm going to try to figure out some ways where we could all see each other, but a little bit more on that maybe tomorrow. But the book I'm going to read you today is Arthur Meets the President. You all know Arthur. He has books, and there are some videos about him. I think there's even been some Arthur movies. So let me go ahead and get this started. Listen carefully, class, said Mr. Ratburn. This is a national contest, so do your best work. I love contests. Contests? I love contests, said Muffy. What do I win? The winner visits the White House in Washington, said Mr. Ratburn. What do we write about? Asked Arthur. The subject is, How can I help make America great? Said Mr. Ratburn. You see there's a picture of George Washington there. We know he was our first president and perhaps our greatest president. Everyone started writing. Arthur started thinking. He thought about the time he and D.W. helped old Mrs. Tibble clean her yard. He thought about how much more they could do in the neighborhood if the whole class helped. Then he began to write. Oh, look, here's some of the presidents that they're studying in that class. There's George Washington, John Adams, our second president, Thomas Jefferson, our third president, James Madison, our fourth president, and James Monroe, our fifth president. You can see some of the dates right there, from 1789 to 1825. That's pretty good on Mr. Scott being able to read through a camera and also stuff that is backwards, but it's, one of the many skills of a teacher. You need to be able to do stuff like that. Weeks later, when Mr. Haney, the principal, was opening the mail, his hands began to shake. It's a letter from the president, he gasped. Miss Tingley, the secretary, fainted. Prunella, who was in the office with a stomach ache, suddenly got better. Open it, she shouted. Mr. Haney clicked on the PA system. That's the public address system. It's the loudspeaker system. Attention, everyone. The President of the United States has written to announce the winner of How I Can Help Make America Great contest. And the winner is our very own Arthur. He and his class are invited to attend a special ceremony at the White House. And we know all about the White House because we learned about it. Maybe your parents don't know too much about it, so if you haven't yet told them about the White House, go ahead and do that. Mr. Ratburn's class went wild. Woo! Arthur's going to the White House. Yeah. Congratulations, Arthur, said Mr. Ratburn. You'll have to work hard to memorize your paper so you can recite it to the president next Wednesday. Memorize? Recite? Asked Arthur. Of course, said Mr. Ratburn. We'll all be there cheering you on. And he looks a little worried. And I don't blame him. That would be pretty intimidating, meeting the president and having to remember stuff. And You're on TV, screamed D.W. when Arthur got home. Listen! He will recite his winning essay to the president and all of America, the announcer was saying. I feel sick, said Arthur. Not as sick as you'll feel when you're giving your speech, said D.W. And I don't know too much about their relationship, but D.W. seems to be Arthur's little sister. And it seems like maybe sometimes she gives them a hard time. And if you have brothers and sisters, especially when you're home alone with each other, well, not alone, but when you're home with each other, treat your sister or brother nicely. That's a lifelong relationship right there. You have to work on it. There's so much to do before we leave, said Mother. Arthur, you'll need a new suit. What about me? Asked DW. I need to look beautiful when I meet the president. The president is very busy, explained Father. He'll only have time to meet Arthur and hear him recite his essay. If I can remember it, said Arthur. Of course you can, said Father. Just relax. Pretend I'm the president and practice right now. The thought of sitting next to the president made Arthur's mind go blank. He said. Uh-oh, said DW. Arthur is nervous. Monday at school, everyone was busy planning the trip. Oh boy, no homework for 3 days, said Francine. Not quite, said Mr. Ratburn. Everyone groaned. Each of you will have to do a report, he explained. As we tour Washington on Wednesday, you will be our guides, so get to work. I'll see you at the airport tomorrow morning. And it looks like they're learning about coats of arms. What's this here? Armor. So they're learning about medieval times. Knights and squires. And a squire would be somebody who was the assistant to a knight. They would help them get their armor on and off. They would clean their armor and polish it. They would take care of their horse and all of that type of stuff. These pages are tough to turn for some reason on this book. Arthur tried to study his speech on the plane. Don't forget to mention me to the president for the Teacher of the Year award, Mr. Ratburn reminded him. Aren't you excited? Asked Buster. I'm too nervous to be excited, said Arthur. You need help, said DW. I'll make the speech for you. I have a lot of ideas about how to run the country. I want you to see these pictures. They're really very well done and very interesting. There's a lot going on there. There's a crying baby whose bippy just fell out. There is a list of things. Shorter school days, nuclear power, too many guns, parts clean air, women's rights. That's some of the stuff that DW has on her agenda for the president. That night at the hotel, Arthur was too worried to sleep. What in the world are you doing? Asked Father. What if I forget my speech and the president laughs at me? Arthur said. The president would never laugh at you, said Father. Why don't you write your speech on note cards and keep them in your pocket, he suggested, just in case. What a great idea, said Arthur. He felt much better. Now try not to worry and go to sleep, said Mother. That's an old trick. I've spoken in front of large groups of people today. I think the most I spoke in front of was 400 people. And it's a good idea to have a backup of your speech in case you get nervous. And, I didn't memorize or anything. I was reading off of my note cards. The next morning, everyone met in front of the Jefferson Memorial. Arthur, you look so handsome, said Francine. Ready to meet the president, said Mr. Ratburn. I guess, said Arthur. He reached into his pocket to make sure the note cards were there. Time for your reports, called Mr. Ratburn. Only 1 more hour until we're due at the White House. Our first stop is the Washington Monument, the tallest building in Washington, explained Francine. 898 steps to the top. Everyone ready? Are you kidding, said DW. I'm taking the elevator. This is the Capitol, where Congress makes the nation's laws, said Sue Ellen. I think we all know how important it is to obey the law, said Mr. Ratburn. So this is the Washington Monument right here. This is the Capitol building. They're both on the Great Mall. That's basically right behind or just adjacent or next to the White House. The National Museum of Natural History has great mummies, said Buster. Follow me. No thanks, said Muffy. I'll meet you at the gift shop. The last stop was the White House. It's so big, said Arthur. Not as big as Muffy's house, said DW. And there is the White House there. That's one of the view. The back of it looks a little different than that. Actually, I don't know if that's the back or the front. I'm not positive. I think it might. I don't know. I think it might be the back. The White House has 132 rooms, said the brain. Every president except George Washington has lived here. It has a barber shop, clinic, indoor pool, theater, gym, and its own library. And the president's office has fancy gold curtains just like the ones in our living room, said Muffy. Excuse me, said the president's secretary. The president is arriving. Please follow me to the Rose Garden. And the Rose Garden is a famous garden outside of the White House where the president sometimes makes speeches or meets with foreign dignitaries, foreign ambassadors or foreign presidents. It's just a beautiful garden. Arthur gulped. It was almost time. He took out his note cards. Suddenly, a strong wind blew through the garden. "Here comes the president," squealed Muffy. "My speech!" gasped Arthur. I don't know if you could see his speech flying away with the helicopter blades. "Relax," said Mr. Ratburn. "You'll be fine." DW wasn't so sure. She had a plan. So she has some kind of plan over there. Let's see what it is. Oh, maybe Arthur will end up reading what she wrote down. That's my prediction. That's what good readers do. They make predictions, and that's my prediction. But we'll see. Arthur had never seen so many important-looking people. "Good afternoon, Mr. President," he began. "When I think about what I can do to make America great, Arthur began to feel very warm. When you feel nervous, sometimes you can get like a warm, flushed feeling over your face and you start to sweat and you feel warm. His mind went blank. His knees began to shake. "This is the worst day of my life," he thought. Suddenly, Buster giggled. Soon everyone else joined in. Even the president was laughing. Arthur turned bright red. And when Arthur saw what they were laughing at, he laughed too. And I don't know if you could see that here. I can see it in the book here, but I'm looking at this foot or leg in the tree there, and that looks awfully like DW's shoe. Now Arthur felt much better. He recited his whole speech without forgetting a single word. And in conclusion, he said, "We can all help make America great by helping others." "Good," said DW. "Then help me down." So I guess, let's see. Okay. There's a speech right there. And we talked about hanging upside down. If you hang upside down for too long, blood rushes to your head and it doesn't feel too great. But you could do it for about a minute or so, and it wouldn't be too bad. You see right here, this is the seal of the President of the United States. Whenever you see the President speaking, you'll see the seal on the podium. Okay, the podium is this piece of wood that they're standing behind that the microphone is attached to. It's kind of angled back like this. So from you're seeing the front part, and that's the highest part, and then it's angled back, and that's where people will put their speeches that they need to read off. So it's kind of angled towards them so they can lay it flat and look down when they're reading. So if you ever watch a speech by the president or anybody else, just check it out next time. They will often look down and they're referring to their notes. They're referring to their speech. So everyone, I miss you so much. Have a great day. We'll figure out a way where we can all see each other. I don't know if you saw the sign-up sheet, but you can sign up as a family to go to Lucy's school. Go visit there and walk the property and go hiking. I think the only place that's off limits is the little kids' playground that we walk through when we're going to outside recess. That little playground we walk through, and I think the bathrooms in the indoor buildings are off limits too. But you could walk the property there. You can go in the woods and in the field in the back, and just behind the green building, like where our classroom is, they reseeded the grass there. That we tore up when we were playing a lot of soccer this year. So that would be another area not to walk on. All right, everyone, have a great day. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.